I've mentioned this before. I've noticed a disturbing trend with not just people doing ufology and, but also those that are keeping track of, like Patriot Watches and other alternative news outlets. And they're starting to put their content behind paywalls. So if you want to know about that reptilian activity that happened last week, or you want to know how they're talking about investigating Mueller now for corruption and crimes, you've got to be willing to pay to see that. That really bothers me. It feels like they're cashing in on the fake news / people needing answers situation. They're completely cashing in on it. And the spirit of, we have to get this information out there, we have to tell people the truth, is being killed by greed, which, by the way, that's a reptilian tactic. I got to tell you this, as somebody said in a documentary I'm in the middle of watching, contaminate your thinking. Now I'm not talking about people who put out the information and depend on Patreon. I can see that, because they're putting out the information and you can pay or you don't have to pay, and but you would like to see it continue, because let's face it, going from location to location doing research does cost time and money, and so you willingly help out the cause, and that's actually a bit more on the up and up, because it gets the information out there, and if you're somebody who genuinely can't afford to help, there are other ways you can help spread the word or whatever. And if you're somebody you can help, and you actually do donate to the cause or whatever, you're not a freeloader and you're actually helping the cause. But these people that are putting things, even if it's, well, you want to see the second half of the show, I'll let you have the first half for free. I mean, this type of greed thinking really is disturbing me, how it has happened. And I noticed that so many people are doing it. It feels like it's a movement in which the contamination was put out there, and then people are starting to buy into it. And that's one way to shut things down, because of course the people that already know the people that already know the information are going to be willing to pay, because they want to hear more. They love their echo chambers. But people that are new to it, that don't feel emotionally invested, they're going to turn away and they're going to go find something else. And it might be misinformation that they find. So I'm really disturbed by this. I think that's one reason why I never was like, oh, I need to get followers and get a Patreon. And besides, it's a lot of work. I mean, so I'm watching this documentary, which is what's got this feed going. And this researcher, she's discussing some of the things that she discovered. And one thing she found was that, less than half of people are traumatized by being abductees or whatever. And they were and apparently they tell her that we're not fear to the aliens. We think of them as family. We're afraid of being here with humans because they still kill one another. And I just happen to know that I come from a place that doesn't do that. And what really completely surprises me, well, I don't know, that I find completely ludicrous, stupid, retarded, moronic, ignorant, unthinking, critical thinking out the window, two brain cells not too far apart to rub together. People are like, I come from this peaceful utopia. And then when you find the quote unquote channeled histories from the people or the aliens or whatever, it talks about wars, it talks about strife, and it's like, oh, but that happened so long ago. While at the same time, we're getting current reports of the battles in space, battles that the humans don't always participate in. Think I've got to get my critical thinking wigs on. Oh, I've already got one. It's my critical thinking wig. I like daisies. And then an hour and a half of watching later, I have nothing else to add. No other thoughts were sparked by this documentary. I don't know if that's good or bad. I did have some memory surface, but I cannot remember if I talked about them or not, so I won't put them here. Actually, I had like all of 2 memories surfaced. 2. I do not. 2. 2, 12, 2, 12, 2. And then a third because I was emailing someone. And the only thing I got out of this documentary is, oh, okay, here's another person whose work I should look up and learn about and find their books. And that's it. I think all that means about this particular documentary is that it scratches the surface. So now I am going to tell you what the documentary was, because it is Don't Mention the Reptilians. That's what I have been watching. The gentleman working on it's been working really, really hard, and he is, last I heard, has been working on a sequel. And he himself even said that the first one could only scratch the surface. There's just so much to it. So if you don't know a lot about reptilians, but you're curious, it's a good starting point, this particular documentary. It covered some meat, but really it just more covered how they are touching our lives as people in our social, and started scratching that. I say go ahead and watch it. You can get it through, you can rent it through YouTube and Amazon and other place for something like $3.99, or you can buy it, Yeah, $3.99, I know for a lot of people that's a lot of money, but if you're willing to go out fast food or go to Starbucks, surely you can afford to rent this movie. Rent it, set it up, and have friends over and watch it together and discuss it. As someone who lives only a couple hours away from a reptilian conclave, I personally feel that people really need to be aware of reptilians, both good and bad. The one positive thing about this documentary is that it covered the fact that the reptilians had split into factions, which I knew that from a remote viewing session several years ago, and I've been watching that, and I can indeed tell that different regions, but then again, reptilians also have their own split cultures, just like we do. They have a way of thinking that's hardwired into them by genetics, but then there's, the rest, just like us. So Don't Mention the Reptilians. I can't remember the actual name. I have to look it up real quick. The name it's on under YouTube is Alien Reptilian Legacy. Let me double check. Yes. Alien Reptilian Legacy says it was released in 2016. If you're out to look more, here's something I give it. I don't know. I don't know if let me see. When it comes to data, it covered some things, but it wasn't as hardcore as the way I personally would like a info documentary to be, because I have noticed that documentaries made now have a lot less information compared to what I grew up watching, or at least it seems that way. It could just be that, when I was a kid, I had less information. It was easier to fill the cup. But anyway, so on that, I'll give it 4 stars, because I felt like it could have had some more data in there. The makers tried to make it interesting by putting in a fictional, well, at least it seems like a fictional subplot. I'm going to give that 5 stars because that was nice. Although the acting made me wince a little, but 5 stars for that. Layout was nice and easy and clear. Each bit of information they were covering was compartmentalized very well, so I'll give that 5 stars. It didn't try to overpower you with, look at this nifty graphic and this awesome music. It was just, boom, here's some stuff for you. That I will always appreciate in a documentary. So 5 stars. So, pretty good. So, that leaves me, at 4.5 out of 5 for a final rating, somewhere on there. So, yes, the Alien Reptilian Legacy, otherwise known as Don't Mention the Reptilians. It's out. Find it. Rent it. When you rent it, you actually help the guys make more. And I know that's a complete turnaround from the paywall comment. I do wish they would have a way to do some sort of free viewing, but that's at their discretion. And it looks like I've got visitors because I hear footsteps that shouldn't be here at 5:30 in the morning. So, bye.